Labdien, good day, our future students and those who haven't decided yet. We welcome you on our airBaltic Pilot Academy Open Day today, and my name is Veronika Olenika, and I am the captain on Airbus 220-300. I work at airBaltic almost for 6 years, from 2017. And I think it's worth to mention that I joined pretty much late, so when I was 40. So that's the message to you, that it's not late to join and to join the airBaltic, to join the airline company and to start your studies as the pilot. So, and now we will look into some information about our company, airBaltic, and the possibilities that the Pilot Academy offers you to apply for the training and to become a pilot with us. Talking about our fleet, as you most probably know, we have a single aircraft fleet, so it's Airbus 220-300 aircraft. Currently, we have 36 aircraft in Riga. We are ready to accept, we already accepted actually 2 more aircraft, and we are ready to accept another 2. So actually, we aim to have 40 aircraft flying for us by the end of this year. And there are another 12 firm deliveries planned till year 2024. So making it all in all 50 aircraft. Currently, we are already grown and we are more than 2,000 employees in airBaltic. We have been hit by pandemic, and I believe that it's a known information for you, and we have to reduce our number of employees significantly. But starting 2021 October, we were able to invite our former employees and to hire new employees to grow and to become a bigger company than we ever been before. At the moment, we have around 350 pilots at airBaltic, and as you may see, so it comprises from around, approximately 178 first officers and 172 captains, which allows us to fly our 36 aircraft that we have. And to cover the operational needs to operate 50 aircraft, of course, we are looking into the pilots, and that's why we also have put in place this training program, ATP training program, which we have in place at Pilot Academy. How long does it take to become a captain? It's, as you may see, it's about 4 to 5 years. It depends on the company, but our statistics show that flying in airBaltic, it will be approximately 5 to 4 years to become a captain from the first officer. Also interesting information, we have a multicultural environment, and as you may see, so we have 29 nationalities actually in airBaltic. And this makes our work even more interesting because you can share with the colleagues some cultural differences, to discuss what different nationalities, what experience they have, and then to see some, to look into some cultural differences. So it's a really dynamic, international, interesting environment which we have in airBaltic. Talking about the fleet, as such, as you may see according to the chat, in 2019 we actually had 3 types of aircraft operating. So these were like 4 Boeing aircraft, 12-8 Q400 aircraft, and we had already 22 Airbus aircraft. And since the pandemic hit us, the decision at airBaltic, which already was considered before to move to the single fleet aircraft, which would allow us to reduce our maintenance costs, our training costs, to move to the single fleet aircraft, then the pandemic even fastened this decision process, and as of 2020, we operate only the Airbus aircraft. And as you may see, so these were already 25 aircraft in 2020, then we increased this number in 2021 up to 32 aircraft. As it mentioned, 38 aircraft this year, and 2 aircraft we hope that we will be able to receive more, and then coming up to 50 from the year, starting from the year 2023 that we want to operate. Number of seats of our aircraft is 148, 49. So for some aircraft still 145, but we are working on standardization of this. You see the commercial range, so it's more than 6,000 kilometers, which is sounds quite impressive for these kind of aircraft. And we have a very low fuel consumption, which also shows that we care about environment, and we are working on sustainability projects, and we are the most modern and green airline in Europe. Also, Airbus 220 aircraft is a kind of a state-of-the-art, latest aircraft generation. And if we look a bit into the history of the commercial jets, so you may see now on your screens the flight deck of Caravelle aircraft, and then you see dials and gauges in the cockpit, the conventional ones. And this is what the early commercial jets started with around 1952. They were, of course, already like out-of-flight system, but they were really like underdeveloped. These were like only the beginning. And then in 1964, there was a move towards more integrated, elaborated autopilot and autothrottle systems. And then on the screen you have more complex, like not more complex, but more developed flight deck in terms of the instrument layout and cockpit design as such. And this is the example of A300B2. Then we were moving to next generation with the glass cockpits and flight management systems. So there you can also already notice the example of electronic cockpit displays, and hence having an improved navigation performance, terrain avoidance systems, and this increased the safety of the flight operations a lot with introductions of these technologies and systems, which actually reduced significantly the accidents related to controlled flight into terrain. And the fourth generation, actually the aircraft we fly, which started to develop starting the year 1988, when the fly-by-wire technology came into place, which actually enabled the flight envelope protection and reduced significantly also accidents related to loss of control in flights. And this is exactly our Airbus A220 using this technology. And what I would like to mention here as well, that if you compare the kind of amount of physical and mental abilities that the pilots needed to put, to flying with the aircraft of the first generation, and then comparing to what we have to do now, still, of course, the mental abilities are very important, how you deal with stress. But in terms of the physical force, if I may say so, that you have to apply flying fly-by-wire, using flying with fly-by-wire technology, so it doesn't require you of much physical input. And that, of course, it opens quite an opportunity also for females then. So there is no so much physical input required, so it's much easier to operate this aircraft. And then we see more and more also females in the cockpit. And this is actually thanks for the technologies developed starting from 1952 till nowadays. Fourth generation airliner, this is actually how our cockpit looks like, Airbus 220. So, and this could be your office one day if you join our training for the Pilot Academy. and for the airline transport pilot to become a pilot in airBaltic. And you may see we have like 5 displays units, and these displays provide the pilot with all the information which is required to operate this aircraft. And these communication protocols and like the infrastructure, this human to machine interface is so developed nowadays that yeah, it's really kind of a user-friendly, pilot-friendly, if I may put so. And this is really nice and easy to fly this Airbus 220 aircraft. Also, how you can learn how to fly this Airbus 220 aircraft. Of course, you start with the training for your ADPL license, but then you would need to go for the training for the so-called type rating on the Airbus. So you would be rated, type-rated pilot on a certain type of the aircraft. And here in Riga, in airBaltic Training Center, we have the state-of-the-art Airbus A220 full flight simulator since November 2019. And that means actually that you do not need to go somewhere else abroad to get the type rating, and all our pilots from airBaltic, they also are trained. So we have the recurrent trainings 2 times per year at least. So, and they do these trainings at the SEAM at airBaltic Center in Riga. So now, let's look into the airline pilot demand and student and how it correlates actually. The pilot demand from airBaltic and the students which the Pilot Academy is releasing. So as you may see, now we are in year 2022. So the number for pilot demand from airBaltic was around 335. And then it will grow for 100 more as 445 in 2023, and then up to 500 pilots. The math is easy here. So actually we need 10 pilots, like 5 first officers and 5 captains, to operate 1 aircraft. Yes, so if we are going to have by the end of the year 2023 50 aircraft, so we need 500 pilots for sure. And then you see the chart for the cadets joining the airline, so already joined since 2019, and the current plan for the number of the cadets. And so you may see, so in 2019 we had the first group actually, and graduates. There were 12 pilots. They joined the company, but due to COVID, they have to stop their flying. But then in 2021, they were able to come back to the company, and now they are successfully flying on Airbus 220, and another 12 have graduated and also joined the airBaltic company already. So for 2022, it's even more. You see there are 40 pilots, 40 graduates, and then a certain number of them also had passed their type ratings successfully, and now they are already flying to with airBaltic, and then the rest are on the training. 2023, so it's even 8 more, so 48 pilots, cadets are expected to be provided within this pipeline to airBaltic, and then we still continue to provide and to feed the airBaltic with the cadets in 2024-2025. You might ask why, yeah? So because according to the pilot demand, it looks like we will have fixed number, 500 pilots as of 2024, but still will it be placed for you in the company going further? Yes, it will, because actually when the company also does its planning, in most of the cases you need a bit more resources, a bit more pilots, I would say roughly 10%, which would account for the people who are retiring, people who are on sick list, people who are sharing their duties or responsibilities and not working full-time as the pilots. So still we will need to fill up this pipeline, and then we will need to provide the airBaltic with the cadets, with the pilots joining the airline. What we provide with our program, so as you may see, the airline pilot standard from day one, and actually what I would like to mention here is that even not from day one, but from day 0, which is your selection process. So what we are looking forward is, of course, your knowledge, good mental abilities, your attitude, and your willingness to work hard, to study hard, and to become the pilots in airBaltic according to standards, our standards. And we have pretty high standards, and then we share our knowledge and we share our experience with our students also from the day one, because the theoretical knowledge instructors and the flight instructors that we have on board are also airline pilots. So then you have the possibility from the day one of your training to get this knowledge and to acquire this knowledge and experience from our airline pilot instructors. Why our program is the perfect solution? So you have integrated airline transport pilot license at the end of the program, and which is done according to airline pilot standard, and you will get it within 18 to 21 months. 22 months. So why there is such a gap, 18-22? There could be some different circumstances, but still we for sure have to account for weather, because if the theoretical part is done in the classroom, and then there are not so many issues that can affect the schedule, then for flying part it's a little bit different. And when you go to one of our bases in Latvia for the flights, so there are some days when you're scheduled for flights, but still you have to wait for the good weather, because for the training flights there are certain limitations, wind, clouds, etc. And then we account for this, and then it means that the minimum time that you can complete the program is 18 months, but we also guarantee that you will do it within 22 months as well. Another thing which is worth to mention is modern newest training aircraft and simulators that we have for the training. We fly with Diamond 40 NG aircraft and Diamond 42-6. And the simulators we have the same for Diamond 40 and Diamond 42. And actually the oldest aircraft that we have, Diamond 40, is only 4 years, kind of old. And then the simulator, we put also about 4 years ago. So pretty much a new modern fleet we have to provide the training for you. As I mentioned already, so you get the best practice and quality from the airline instructors, because they are active airBaltic pilots, at least half of them. And last but not the least, that at the end of our program, you get the offer for the pilot work at airBaltic, in case you have the successful evaluation, and then you are selected to fly with the airline. What will you get also in frame of our airline pilots standard integrated ATPL? Let's look a bit into details. So first part is the theoretical part training that you get, and it actually comprises from 150 hours of classroom study with instructors. So you are coming to airBaltic training, and there you work with the instructor who shares the knowledge and the theoretical knowledge with you. Then another 280 hours you do by means of computer-based training, and it's done on the iPad, and actually you will get your own iPads which you will use during the whole process of training. And then there will be certain materials provided to you with the progress checks and theoretical checks, and then you will work with this tool as well. Another part, the third part of the theoretical study, is 335 hours of self-study, So you use books. You have 13 subjects to learn, actually, and this is quite a lot of information that you have to learn to process. And the checking, additionally, the books is very important. And also, on top of that, you can work with the so-called question banks, which will be also available for you to prepare for your theoretical exams at the Pilot Academy first, and then at our Civil Aviation Authority. Next part of the training is flight training, and then it comprises of 155 hours of single-engine piston training flights, for which we use our Diamond 40 NG aircraft, and then flight navigation training device, like simulator, which we have at airBaltic training, 60 hours, and 15 hours on multi-engine piston aircraft. And actually, it's not like you start only with theory and then you go for training flights, but that's the idea of integrated training. So you start with the theory and then it goes in combination with the flight training. So you have the possibility to apply your theoretical knowledge, which you gained already during the training, and to obtain the necessary skill, then go back to theory, learn something again, and then try it out during your further flights. Then another 8 hours is upset prevention and recovery training. This is when you get a bit of kind of aerobatic training flight. Now this is done in the United Kingdom. And we have also, we are looking actually into the options to do it in Latvia. And if it's possible, then in spring we will have the aircraft in Latvia here available for this training as well. But that's the future we are looking into. And then another 100 hours to complete Airline Pilot Standard Integrated AEPL program is a multi-crew cooperation course, which also includes swept wing and airline operations. So here you get also the feeling on how the procedures and how the cooperation, so working in a multi-pilot environment, looks like. And this training is done already on our Airbus 220 simulator in Riga. So actually during this 100 hours of theory and flying, altogether you already get this feeling how to be a pilot of the airline flying Airbus 220 aircraft. So summarizing, more than 1,100 hours for the program as total, which you will complete within 80 to 22 months study program. Here you see our multi-engine piston aircraft, Yankee Lima Papa Alpha Zulu, which is Diamond DA-42-6. And if you join us for our training ATPL, then you will have a chance to fly this aircraft one day. As I mentioned already, so Airbus for the airBaltic is also a fourth generation aircraft, and in Diamond aircraft, the A40NG and the A40NG both, we have also a fourth generation Avionics, which looks pretty much alike as the screens as the Avionics of Airbus 220. We have Garmin 1000 NXI glass cockpit with synthetic vision, which greatly aids to the situational awareness and flight monitoring for our students during flight training, and we have the autopilot system there built in as well, which reduces pilot workload and of course provides safer flying. And then taking into account this, the similarities of this glass cockpit to electronic displays which we have in Airbus 220, these our trainings makes the transition time, because between the training aircraft and the airline aircraft really reduced transition. And it's not only airBaltic who flies most modern and eco-friendly engines. Our Diamonds are also eco-friendly, and we have electronically controlled turbocharged jet fuel engines there. And actually our aircraft spent less, 50% less fuel comparing to other general aviation aircraft of the similar side, with of course all lower CO2 emission. And that is also, which is one of our objectives and to reduce our environmental footprint and to work more on sustainability project to be greener and to save our planet. Looking into the fleet as such, how many aircraft do we have? So for now we have 9 aircraft, and this is 8 Diamond 40 aircraft and 1 Diamond 42. We have still 1 aircraft to come next year, and this will be Diamond 40. And actually we are looking also into option of getting the electrical aircraft, but we are looking if it would be possible to standardize these operations, so it will be more or less, it could be operated in the same way as our aircraft with the jet fuel engine, because the standardization also is one of the key points in aviation. And then if the operations will differ significantly, then we would not like to take this aircraft, and then we will go for the another one jet fuel engine aircraft. Our operational bases now 3 in Latvia. It's Liepāja, from where we perform most of our flights actually. We flew from Riga also last year for some day IFR instrument flights and night visual flights, and then this year we flew from Ventspils, and we used it mostly for flying night visual flights. You see also there Castellion mentioned, and this is grayed out because we are looking also for options where we can fly during winter months, because the weather in Latvia does not allow us to use winter months very efficiently for our flight training. For now, our planning does it best actually in planning the theoretical training mostly on the winter months, and then we do the practical training somewhere from March till end of October, mid of November. But if we have more students to teach, and then we need to fly from within also during winter months, so we are looking into the options in Italy and Spain. Selection process. So with what you start? We start with sending in the application. Then, if the application is accepted, you go for English, mathematics, and physics tests. And then, if you are good at that, you have the general mental abilities test and psychological assessment. After psychological assessment, if you're good to go, then you have the final selection interview and financing support discussion. As you may see, so approximately from 200 applicants, 10 to 12 are selected for our ATPL program to continue with the studies. Then, when you have discussion about the financing support, of course, the obvious question is how much it costs and how can I afford it or not. So we have a very good proposal. So you start with after assessment, if you're selected, then you start with the first part, which is self-funded part, and it's 15,000 euros. So you get the whole ATPL theory there and 45 flight hours, actually, which is equivalent to the private pilot license amount of hours. And this approximately takes 9 months. After that, you have the performance review done by airBaltic. And there are 2 ways possible. One is with airline provided loan, and another way is self-funded installment. In case of airline provided loan, so in case of the performance review went well, you are offered a job at airBaltic, because to be eligible for this airline loan, you need to have a job at airBaltic, and then you combine the part-time job at airBaltic and you continue with the studies, which will take another 9 months and is covering 64,000 euro. And in case of self-funded way, if something went wrong with the performance review at this point, or you just made this decision to continue with the self-funded installment way, you start with the self-funded part, which covering VFR flights up to first cross-country flight, which covers 24,000 euros. Then you continue with the part of time building and UPRT course, instrument rating, which is another 30,000, and then you end up with the multi-engine piston and MCC course, which will require a third installment of 10,000 euros, and this is another 3 months. So all in all, it's 79,000 euro for whole program, but then you have two ways how to finance it. And I already mentioned about the payments, so we have the smooth payment schedule for those who are choosing the self-funding option, but for those who are choosing for airline loan, then you have to keep in mind that this loan needs to be repaid within 5 years. Other thing which is worth mentioning is that you have also a type rating which you will need to do, and this is sponsored by airBaltic. So the 28,100 euros. But then you have so-called bond agreement, and then it means that airBaltic pays for that, and then you have to work at airBaltic for 3 years to cover this bond. Then the next question is maybe how will I be able to pay it back, this amount of money for what I have? And then here I want to mention that we have at airBaltic a certain salary scheme, and you may see that starting as first officer we have 3 levels for the first officers, level 1, level 2 and level 3, and the salary is increased on a yearly basis. So you start with a certain amount, like in average what you see on the screen, and then each and every year with the good performance review from airBaltic, so you continue with the salary increase. Sorry. Then there is the interim step between first officer level 3 and captain 1 level. It's the senior first officer, and then also there is a certain salary increase. And as we mentioned earlier, in 4 or 5 years, with good performance, and you are eligible for the captain level 1 position, and then you proceed with your career to captain level 3 with the salary, and the salary increase for captains is every 2nd year. We have a lot of horizontal and vertical actually career opportunities at airBaltic. And here you can, being a first officer, you can also become a theoretical knowledge instructor, flight instructor, or you can participate in different other projects. For the vertical career growth, after becoming a captain, you can also look into the training captain career path. So we have also some other benefits available for the flight crews in airBaltic, and there's this unlimited home leave tickets that you can choose if you are not living in Latvia, and then you have commute to your home country. We have ideal leisure travel tickets, which are available for you, for your parents, partners, spouses, children, and then it means that you are paying only the airfield taxes, and the tickets are really cheap. You have paid vacation of 20 days per year, which is according to labor law, and all the training costs in airBaltic already, license validations, medical and visas, these all our costs are covered by airBaltic. Also important, after 1 year of employment, airBaltic provides you the loss of license insurance, which, if you lose your license, whatever, due to bad health or something, so you are kind of eligible for this compensation of 100,000 euros as a loss of license insurance, and the company is taking care of that. You have health insurance as well, and then accident insurance, which is 24/7, so actually you even do not need to be on duty to have a coverage with this accident insurance. And again, last but not the least, so Pilot Academy students have the priority to work at the airline if you have a good performance and you perform according to airBaltic standards. So to finalize our presentation today, we would like to give you some insights also on from where our students, our cadets are coming from. And as you may see, the Pilot Academy geography is quite impressive, I would say. So we have the students not only from Baltic states, also from Sweden, Finland, Italy, France, Spain, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, and Netherlands. And that's what I meant in the beginning. So we have 29 nationalities in airBaltic. And we are really happy that our cadets are joining from all over the Europe, our Pilot Academy, and are choosing the airBaltic as their employer. And also I want to mention that we are really happy having cadets from Latvia, and then we put this nice map which shows from which municipalities the cadets from Latvia have joined. And almost all, like I would say, according to what I see, so it's more than 60% of municipalities are covered. And we really would like to encourage you to send the applications, and if you really have passion for aviation, so just try, send your application, and then we would be happy to see more blue colors on both maps, on the kind of a bigger geographical map and on the Latvian map. And you can apply via our pilotacademy.com website. We have also many updates publishing on our social media sources, so you may see that we have presence quite on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. So if you want to stay up to date to all the news, so please feel free to follow us on these social media sources. And now we are coming to a Q&A, like questions and answers session. So from myself, I would like to thank you for your time and for joining this part for the presentation. We will have a short break, and after the break, our airBaltic Training and Pilot Academy General Manager, Christoph will join, and he will answer your questions. And please feel free, you may ask your questions in English and Latvian, so all these questions will be answered. So please log into sly.com and use the password PA10 to submit your questions. Thank you for your attention, and looking forward to see you in the Baltic training as our pilots. Bye.
Good day. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Veronica, for very nice presentations. As Veronica introduced me, my name is Christoph. I'm General Manager of airBaltic Training. And I will be happy to answer all your questions. What is the average flying hours per pilot a year? So our pilots flies a little bit more than 800 hours per year, and as you know, that legal limitation is 900 hours. Will the total program costs increase next year due to the expected higher fuel prices? Will training contracts sent out this year still include the current costs? Yes, potentially could be the case that training costs will increase next year. Currently, we are doing calculations and trying to understand what impact could be on the final price due to the various price increases. Those contracts who have been sent out this year, or those students who have went through the assessment process, for them the price will not be affected. Increase will not affect their price. After passing the assessment, can I get a loan if I'm 20 years old and I don't own anything to get a loan against collateral? As Veronica already told, yeah, first part is self-sponsored, and then we do the performance review, and if the performance review is successful, you may pretend for the airBaltic financed part as well, and then later on during the working period you will pay it back. I attended the assessment in August, but I have not been accepted yet. Are there plans to launch a group at the end of next year? Thank you. Yes. So we are planning to launch one more group this year, and for the next year we are planning 4 groups, basically each quarter one group. So next year first group launch will be on 20 of February, then will be beginning of June, beginning of September, and the beginning of November. Does it matter if I'm a high school student and don't have a degree but want to become a pilot? So you need to have a high school, you need to finish high school, but you don't need to have a bachelor's degree. You need to finish high school, and then you can start training for your professional career as a pilot. Is there, if there is a frozen ATPL license, do you provide an opportunity to gain flight hours, or do students need to look for options by themselves? So, finishing airBaltic integrated course, you have frozen ATPL theory and CPL license. All hours which is needed to receive CPL license is already included into the hour course. If you want additionally to do some flight trainings and build your hours or your experience, yeah, such options is needed, but those should be discussed additionally. What diamonds you use for the studies? So we have 8 diamonds DA40 and white diamonds. White diamonds you use for the studies. As Veronica already mentioned in her presentation, so our A220 is a state-of-the-art aircraft, which is most advanced in commercial aviation currently, what we can see. And we see that similar technologies are applied into the diamonds aircrafts. And to make this transition from training aircraft to commercial aircraft to more smooth, so that's why we made the decision to choose diamond aircrafts. Questions about the ATPL theory training. What are the 4 subjects required for ATPL on the top of 9 required for PPL? Radio navigation. That's a very good question. I will not be able to say from my heart immediately, but also the all 9 questions, yeah, but nevertheless, also those all 9 subjects which are done during the PPL should be done, because ATPL is in a more deeper knowledges. But if you are interested about specifically those 4 questions, you may Google as well. What I can imagine the test, the general mental abilities to be like. Can you explain a little more details how the airline provide plan works. So regarding general mental abilities, so there are some similarities with IQ tests. So with a few differences, but basically it's the same. And the second part, can you explain a little more details how the airline provide plan works? So I assume you mean roster. So a roster for the next month is issued at 15th date of previous months. And then you see, currently in airBaltic we have two options. So there is a fixed roster, and which is offered for the pilots, which is at a higher seniority, and various roster which have changes every month. What are some options for students to solve the accommodation issue when they have to go to Liepāja Ventspils for flight practices? What from our side as a pilot academy, what we are offering some contracts with the local schools or local dorms, and students may use those options, but quite often students just simply renting apartments by themselves, and then later on sharing with the next groups, and so on. If I understand that correctly, you work at airBaltic during the training. What job I'm supposed to do, and can I earn money for my living expenses from it too? So when the performance review is done, and if you are successful, or in other words, when the first module is completed, so you will be offered to become an airBaltic employee, depending from the vacancies which we have opened at that moment. Could be flight coordinator, could be flight attendant, maybe some supporting staff in offices or in technical department, and so on. There is a lot of different possibilities. And the second part was, can I earn money for my living? Yes, of course. Depends on how many hours you have worked. You will receive proportional salary. I saw that most cadets were around 20 years old. I'm 34. Does it mean any disadvantages? No, not at all. We have also students which are actually little bit older even. How does candidates repay the loan? Is it deducted from the payback? And if yes, how much it is, and how long does it take to repay the loan? Yes, correct. The loan is later on deducted from your salary, depending from your experience, from your level, either your first officer, first level, second or third. So this amount is at the first stage is smaller, and then it increases by time. How long does it take to repay the loan? We are counting 5 to 6 years. It will be depending at which moment you will join the airline. Repayment scheme is made like this, that we understand that you need also money for living, and that's why it's not linear, but it increases with the time. When the salary increases, repayment is a little bit bigger. Apart from Riga, where else can a pilot be based? Is there a possibility to select a base if possible? Our main base is in Riga. And we also are flying from Vilnius, Tallinn, Tampere, but we don't have crew bases there. So crews are sent there for layovers. Currently, there is no possibility to choose for a base. How can someone prepare for the math and physics tests? Is there a software you can recommend? Math and physics, they are high school level, so the same what you had in a final exam, similar themes and the similar exercises will be in a pilot academy. So no, we don't have any softwares what to recommend for those tests. Do you have pilots that are coming out to work from their home country? Yes, of course. And that was one of the parts also what Veronica mentioned in her presentation, that we have unlimited amount of home home leave tickets. So you may live in Amsterdam or Frankfurt or whatever, and you come for duties to Riga according your roster. Hello, what percentage of applicants make it? Somewhere 7, maybe sometimes less, sometimes more, but roughly would be around 7%. If they're more difficult for new cadet to fly in Latvia in winter with the very low temperatures, no. Even I would say it will be easier due to the air density, but there is no differences. The most important is visual meteorological conditions. Hello dears, my questions. If I have PPL license, what would be a benefit of that, skipping some course or something? Greetings from Lithuania, greetings from Latvia. Yeah, we have few students who is PPL license holders. What could be done, and that we are also doing, that the some hours from our building part or from the second installment are deducted according to your experience. The first module or the first parts for all students are similar. My ICAO exam is imminent, so should I wait with the application until I have the ICAO exam, or is it enough if I studied in the US? You will need to pass English exam anyway, but that is done already when you are student pilot in Pilot Academy. Sveiki, šobrīd strādāju par stjuartu airBaltic. Esmu dzirdējis, ka mācības ar darbu ir iespējams savainot. Vēlos uzzināt, kā tas izpaužas, cik reāli tas ir. So, hello, currently I'm working in airBaltic as a cadet, and I have been here that there is possibility to combine the studies in Pilot Academy and work options. I would like to know how that works. So, as we mentioned and as we showed in the presentation, so during the first phase or during those first 9 to 10 months, there will not be possibility to combine work with studies. So you need to focus only on studies because there is very intense theory, and you need to pass all subjects in Civil Aviation Authority. After, when the second phase comes, or after performance review, yeah, you will be able to combine your training flights with your duties as a cabin attendant. We see that this proportion could be around 50-50. When will the next assessment take place? How long does it take? So we have assessments every week, and usually it takes 3 to 4 days. How much is the salary for a new cadet after deduction per month? Based on the living costs in Latvia, is it enough for someone to accommodate? Yes, the salary scheme is made on the way that the funds which you will have after deducting loan is fully sufficient for a living. While you are first officer, at the first level of the first officers, most probably you will not be able to purchase your first yacht or aircraft, but for living the funds is fully sufficient. Is the physics part of assessment more like general physics knowledge or serious calculations with formulas and all? No, it's more like general physics. You need to understand how to calculate time, how to calculate speed, distance, and so on. For example, density, and so on. How many approximately are the living costs in Riga per month? Including apartment, I would say some 700-800, maybe a little bit less. Depends what kind of apartment you are choosing. How long does the type rating take? It starts with company conversion. Company conversion goes 2 weeks, type rating theory 3 weeks, and simulator approximately also 3 weeks. So roughly two months. Does the 18-22 months of the training include type rating, or if not, how soon after completion Pilot Academy can we go through the type rating and start working? No. Those 18 to 22 months do not include type rating. As I mentioned previously, type rating takes approximately also 2, maybe 2.5 months, plus issuing the license. So I would say currently, based on the current experience, we see 3 months after finishing Pilot Academy, you will start your professional duties as a pilot. Are the assessment exams have been done remote or on site? Depends from the situation. Currently, part of assessment is done remotely, part of assessment is done on site. Does airBaltic offer accommodation, or do I have to rent an apartment? Currently, airBaltic does not provide accommodation. We can help with suggestions with some partners which we are having, but we are not providing accommodation. Will having a higher education bachelor's degree help me in the application selection process in any way? Of course it will help. So we are assuming that you know already the physics and mathematics at the higher stage or higher level, and that will also help during the studies or later on in Pilot Academy. What does the psychologist examinee during the assessment? Is this normal conversation to find out we didn't have some kind of mental disorders? Yes, that's correct. It's a normal conversation when the psychologist is asking some questions and giving some additional exercises. Ja man jau ir privāta pilota licence, kuru tikko iegūtu citā skolā un vēlos turpināt ar ATPL Frozen, vai varu turpināt pilota akadēmijā? Vēlreiz neejot cauri PPL topikiem, paldies. So if I have a private pilot's license which I got in other school, can I join airBaltic Pilot Academy for ATPL Frozen and not go through the PPL subjects? First, yes, you can join airBaltic Pilot Academy, but you will be needed to go through the theory once again anyway, because like I said, ATPL theory is more deep and there is completely different exams. So you will need to go through 13 theoretical exams once again. Regarding your flight hours, it's previously, like it was mentioned, so some flight hours could be deducted from the hour building part. If the pilot leave company before paying his loan, should he pay entire loan at once, or it does not change anything? If person decides to leave company, so he need to repay the remaining amount. Either in one pay or it could be split. That's already discussion at that time. How to prepare best for the assessment? No, there is no one single suggestion how to better prepare. So take a look what was the topics in a high school, and yeah, that's it. Are there any options to join the program for non-EU citizens? If you may be non-EU citizen, but if you having a permanent residence card in Europe with allowance to live and stay and work, so then in this case there is no issue that you are non-EU citizen. You said math physics are same level as a high school. I'm guessing you mean the same level as high schools in Latvia, right? Yes, correct. High schools in Latvia. What is the promotion system for pilots? How many hours do the pilots need to fly to become a senior first officer or captain? As it was during presentation, so your level is reviewed once a year, depending from your performance and hours flown. So basically, you need to become a captain. Minimum hours you need 3,000 hours. So roughly 4 to 5 years. Is it possible to get PPL license for personal flying? Yes, that is possible, and airBaltic training now is planning to launch the PPL program at the end of this year. Should we get our class 1 medical before applying, or is it included in the program expenses? Yeah, the costs are included in the program expenses, but what we are suggesting for all applicants is please go through the medical before you are applying. It will be much more easier later on for your own understanding. Do you fit or no? Those costs for the medicine, if there will be any, you may later on when you sign the contract, you may give to us, and we will pay them back according to our policy. Do you have any tips for preparing the application and for the later will come back? Is there any scholarship available for the course? So yes, our scholarship is that Airline is coming and helping with the second biggest part of the payment. So first 15,000 should be paid by applicant himself. Can I start studying with 17 years? I mean, I'm on my last year and my birthday is on December. Could I apply in September 2023? Thanks. If I remember correctly by my heart, yes, you may start studies, but you will not be able to receive commercial pilot license before 18. But that we need to check. Could be the case also that for the studies you need to be 18 years old. If application won't beg accepted, can someone apply again? How soon? Yes, if you was not successful for this assessment or this during this phase or during this round, you may reapply after 1 year. Do you have any tips for Vēlos jautāt par dekrētus atvaļinājumu pilotiem. Pēc Latvijas likumdošanas naudu izmaksā no 7. mēneša, bet lidot nevar no 1. mēneša, vai airBaltic ir tāpat? Yes, I would like to ask about the maternity leaves and maternity leave vacation according to Latvian labor law. So this funds are paid starting from 7th month, but you cannot fly starting from 1st month. How it's done in airBaltic? According my knowledge, so yeah, you cannot fly from the 1st month, but there is a duties in the office which you can perform still. And if you are pilot, so you can help with our manuals or any other organizational things. So that is what you are doing those 7 months in the office, but of course you are not flying. Is next on-site open day gonna be again first Friday in the next month? Yes, we have open days every first Friday of the month at 1 o'clock. 1 month it's online, 1 month it's on-site. So next month in November we will have on-site open days in airBaltic Training Center, Pilotu iela 6, Riga International Airport. Do you have any recommendations for preparing the application paper for the assessment? No, there is no recommendation. Just be yourself. That is what we are looking. Be yourself. Don't try to make something unrealistic. DP, I need to undergo medical examination. If yes, where can I do it? You can do it in Latvia, for example. You can do it in Aviomed, which is located here in airport. If you are somewhere abroad, then you can do it in, I assume, any aviation medical center. Is it easy to deal with living in Latvia without knowing the language, like when you need to do paperwork at the government office? Does Russian knowledge helps? As Veronica mentioned before, we have 28 different nationalities and they all live in Latvia. So yes, that is doable. And the majority of Latvian population also speaks in English, and in all government offices they will gonna help you with filling out some papers if it's needed. Does Russian knowledge helps? Yeah, there is still part of population who speaks in Russian as well, so of course it helps. Any language helps. Do you suggest having some flight experience before joining? Yes, that is what we are suggesting. Go to the local aeroclubs or somewhere where you can try what does it mean to fly the aircraft. Rent the aircraft, take the instructor and try. That will give you also the very good understanding for your future profession. What could be the reason why you don't get a contract as a pilot in the company? Here I assume it's mentioned about the performance review and what will be evaluated during the performance review. We will evaluate three things: your theoretical knowledges, practical knowledges, and your attitude. And if you will show bad results in one of those areas, so that could be the case why you are not employed in airBaltic. If I do not have any work permit in EU, can I join this program by getting student visa? No, we are not supporting students with visas. So that part is what you need to deal by yourself. Do the instructors know personally students after a while? No, yeah, of course, they are spending 200 hours together. Yes, of course, they are getting to know them in some time. Čau, ja es mācos 12. klasē un pabeigšu skolu 23. gadā, vai es varu pieteikties maijā, pirms esmu saņēmis atestātu? So, hello, I'm currently in 12th grade. I will be graduating in 2023. Can I apply in May? So before I receive the high school diploma? Yes, you can, and that is even recommended. What are ideal leisure travel tickets about? So you may travel within airBaltic network, not only within airBaltic network, but airBaltic partner network as well, and use it for your vacations and trips with only you or with your family and so on, so on. It's special prices for employees. How long after the applicant is sent while receiving a response? Also, in case of acceptance this year, is possible to secure the place and join the following year. How long? Depends from each situation is different, but usually it takes 1 to 2 weeks from the moment when you are applying to receive response or invitation for assessment. And is it possible to secure the place for the joining following year? Yes, currently also the applicants who is undergoing the assessment, they are securing already the places, for example, for a February group. Does the cadets receive free uniforms, and later what is the uniform allowance for the pilots in airBaltic? Yes, cadets receive free uniforms. We do not have pilots allowance for uniforms because we are providing also for the pilots uniforms. And for cabin crew and any other position which requires special uniform. Do the paid vacation days increases or do the 20 days per year always stay the same? That is already 20 days per year is according to Latvian labor law, but of course we have internal rules. So those, for example, you get additional days for your kids and so on, so on. There is multiple internal rules when you can gain more days. One thing what I would like to mention, so in some 5 minutes we need to finish, and anyway, if there will be questions which I will not be able to answer today, because I'm looking there is 52 questions in a queue, we will answer all of them in our Facebook account, Instagram, and basically in our social media. When candidates I have already PPL. Do I have better chance to get enrolled in academy? Of course, because you have already knowledge and understanding what does it mean to be a pilot. Is it possible to work full-time, part-time at any point during the training months, e.g. after the theory training part? So, what we suggest and what we see that while you are in a theory, there is no possibility to combine it with other duties, working or something like that, because you need to focus on studying the theory. Those are 13 very, very big subjects. After all the theoretical exams are passed, that is the moment also when the airBaltic is offering the possibility to work. It takes around 9, 10, maybe 11 months. It depends from the seasonality, depends from the weather. When candidates pass the assessments and become the employee of the company, does that mean that candidate will start to receive the salary and support himself? Yes, you will start to receive salary depending from the amount of hours you have been worked. Should we consider it about Russia war as a base is close? War as the base is close to it? You mean most probably Kaliningrad, but not at all. So Latvia is one of NATO members, so we do not see any threats regarding this. This conflict in Ukraine. Is it in the internet about airBaltic to hire every cadet? I mean, if you study seriously, is there a risk of not getting hired? No, the risk is very, very low. If your attitude and your knowledge and your results will be according our standard, the risk that you will not be hired is very, very low. Is it okay if I'm a shy person? No. No. We all are different. We are introvert, extrovert persons, but no, you may be a shy person, but I think it's okay. If you later on, as a captain, will be able to say or give announcement to the passengers, then it's okay. Is it advantage if I have a license or to fly a glider? I don't have many hours on it yet. Yes, that is advantage. The same like private pilot license holders. First of all, you know already that part, which means what does it mean to fly. You have already some knowledge about theory, and also there is an option also some hours for glider could be used into your later on into your studies. What MCC course? I assume that the question is what MCC means. It's multi-crew corporation. What does it mean? It means in a training aircraft, you are alone. You are a single pilot. You are operating a small aircraft. MCC is already course which helps and converts you to the commercial aviation environment and to train how both pilots are communicating with each other and how they are sharing the workload. Is it possible to get a closer look at your pilot's office and job during an apprenticeship and other special days? You may come and visit our open days, and there you will have a chance to speak with our instructors, pilots, and so on. But if you want to see closer, for example, our cruise center and so on, then you need to apply to the shadow days. In Latvia, we have once per year shadow days. So, last 5 questions. Is it a calculator allowed during math and physics assessments? No. Is it still possible to do assessment test online, math, physics, English, and psychology? No. Could be case that part math and physics part of this could be done remotely, but psychologist, no. Psychologist is done on site. How often is it possible to make applications? How often is possible to make an application per year? Once per year. Once you are hired, you guaranteed to get flight hours as a FO. Yes. Is scratched paper? Sorry, I didn't get this question. Please rephrase it. Hello, dear. What the percentage of students who don't get into the airline after the cadet program? Less than 1. Hello, what about if I live in Manchester but airBaltic doesn't fly there? Do I have home leave tickets with partner airlines to get to Manchester? No, home leave tickets are in airBaltic network. After from the destination which you are choosing to the Manchester, you may use one of our partner airlines, but that will not be any more home leave ticket. That will be ID ticket. Last one question: Is it only in case of a failure during PPL that cadet don't get the loan and the job offer, or is there any reason why you would get it? Is it only in case? So, once again, at the performance review, we are evaluating 3 things: your theoretical knowledges, practical knowledges, and your attitude. There is nothing about failing a private pilot license or something like that. We do our own assessment. It's not depending from any other. Thank you for watching today the Pilot Academy Open Days, and hope to see you on site in Riga in airBaltic Training Center. Have a nice weekend.